right, this video is for the class Discovering Pre-Algebra on OutSchool. If you are in the class, we are doing worksheet 2-9, so make sure you've done it. I'm about ready to throw the answers up on the board and you can grade it. If you are not in this class, and you want to be, if you're like, wow, this is exactly what I need to learn, in the description you'll see a link to the OutSchool class. Okay, so I'm going to throw the answers up and then we'll go over them and hopefully you can see if you made any mistakes where you went wrong. Okay, so hold on, I'm going to throw the answers up. All right, so here are the answers. You can see 2 of them have stars over them. That is because I failed to put in the instructions in the earlier classes, but in the later versions of this class, I don't forget that question 13 and 14 need to be rounded to the thousands place. All right, which I did in giving my answer. So if your answer just kept going and going and going and you didn't see that, then if yours didn't have that, it should be in the top instructional part in the older video, in the older sections of this class. So yes, round those 2 to the thousands place. All right, so go ahead and pause and grade your worksheet, and when we come back, I'll explain how I got the answers. All right, I'm going to assume that you paused when you needed to, and I'm going to zoom in so that we can see these problems a little better and work with this first row of problems. Okay, let me change my color so it doesn't get confused with the already given answers. Okay, so the first number goes inside the divisor symbol, and the second number goes on the outside. Now 73 cannot go into 2, cannot go into 21, but it can go in 204. So remember, we just keep taking one place over until we find a good starting place. And I am going to guess that we can probably do this 3 times. Let's go ahead and check it though. Yes, perfect. And it's okay. I do this on the side. I purposely do it this way so that you can see the whole process and me doing it. And sometimes I'll even go around the long way of doing a few different test numbers because I want to show you it's okay. Sometimes it takes us 3 and 4 times. It's all right. All right, so 73 cannot go into 51, but I have to have something to designate that ones place in my answer. So I have to put a 0 there. 73 goes into 51 0 times. Now let me put the decimal point up into the answer and I can drop down the second one. All right, so 73 will go into 53. I'm going to say about double the times of this. So let's start off with 6 and then we'll just see where we have to go from there. Might have to go higher. Let's go ahead and try 7. And that is exact. So 7 times, and I am done. All right, again, the 3743.3 goes inside the divisor hat, the 41 on the outside. Let's put our decimal in the answer. All right, 41 does not go into 37. Can go into 374, and I am going to guess that it does that about 7 times. So let's see. Ooh, that's a little low. Let's try 8. Can we get another one in there? Let's just try it. What's it gonna hurt, right? All right, so yes, we can go in 9 times. It's going to give me a remainder of 5. Drop down my 3. 41 goes into 51 probably just 1 time. I'm going to drop down this 3. I'm going to say it has to go in less than 7 times, right? And quite a significant amount less. I'm going to try 3, and then I can go up from there. Nope, it's perfect. And there you go. Our answer is 91.3. We're going to make small little multiplication mistakes in these. It's good to show all of your work, like all of this stuff that I did. Okay? I suggest you do this on scrap paper. These boxes are not big enough to show all your work in it, because when someone grades this, either you or your mother or whoever is responsible for your education, you have to remember that you're going to make little mistakes here, and if they can see that you just made a common little multiplication goof, but you got the process of dividing decimals right, I wouldn't even mark that wrong. I would make you correct it, and I would make you start from there and redo the problem, because I believe in mastering that skill. But I wouldn't, as long as you don't, the purpose here is to divide decimals, and if you get that skill right, I wouldn't mark off for a little multiplication goof. I would just make you do it again. All right. That's on the inside. This is on the outside. 64 cannot go into 1, cannot go into 3. Let me put my decimal on. But it can go into 103, and I am going to say that's twice. Yes, that looks close enough. Drop down my 2. It cannot go into 52. I've got to put a placeholder in my place value, so I'm going to put a 0 above that 2. All right, above this 2, I need to put something. All right, I'm going to drop down another 0, and I am going to, I'm going to say 9. Let's see what 9 looks like. I can always do another one. What's it going to hurt? So 36, 54, 57. Obviously too high, but I think that the next one I should try is 8. So 8 times 4 is going to be 32. 8 times 6 is 48, 49, 50, and 51. So above this 0, I'm going to put the 8. And that's 5, 12, which gives me a remainder of 8. I'm going to drop down my 9. I'm going to say 64 can only go into 89 one time. All right, so let's look up at my numbers. I know it's going to be more than the 2 times 64, and I know it has to be less than the 64 times the 8 or the 9. So I'm about double the 2. Let's start with 4. 64 times 4. Oh, that is perfect. And I'm done. All right, let's go on to 4 through 6. See how many we have. We have 15 in this set. All right, so this one, 2, 0, 1 on the inside, 3 on the outside. Put my decimal in my answer. 3 cannot go into 2, so that's 0. 3 can go into 20, and it does that 6 times because that's 18. Drop down my 1. 3 can go into 21 7 times, and that's exactly 21. Let me put my decimal in my answer. 3 can go into 6 2 times. That's exactly 6. Drop down my 1. 3 cannot go into 1, so I have to put a 0 here as a placeholder above that 1. Then I can drop down my 5. 3 can go into 15 5 times. That's exactly. All right. All of these are practically the same idea. Okay, so I'm going to put my decimal point in. 7 goes into 7 one time. Drop down my 1. 7 cannot go into 1, so that's 0. Drop down my 4. 7 goes into 14 2 times. And that's going to be the stopping ground for that. So now let's look at the next group of questions, okay? So all of 3 of these, okay, these are all different types of, each line is a different type of decimal. So all of these turn into decimal answers, but they start out with whole numbers, all right? So if I want, I can go ahead and put my decimal at the end of my 3 digits, the 147, in my answer, showing myself that when I get to that point, then I can add zeros. Okay, so 2 goes into 14 7 times. Drop down my 7. 2 can go into 7 3 times, which is 6. 1. Now I'm on the other side of this decimal, and I can go ahead and put a 0 in. So 2 goes into 10 5 times. Couldn't go into 1, okay, because remember, dividing is grouping it. I can't make a group of 2 out of 1. I can make a half a group. 1 is half of 2, so I can make a half of a group with that. All right, so let's look at that concept here. I'm going to go ahead and put my decimal at the end of the number. 4 cannot go into 3, but 4 can go into 39 9 times, because 9 times 4 is 36, giving me 3. So now I'm taking 37 and I'm making groups of 4. Okay, I can make 9 groups of 4 again, which is 36 of them. Leaves me with 1 left over. So I can't make a group out of 1, right? I have to have 4 to make a group. So I drop down a 0. Okay, I gotta say how many groups I can make out of 1. Well, it's going to be less than 1. And now I can see that's 2. Drop down another 0. And 5.25. And if you just looked at your 1, if we went back to the 1, let me go ahead and get my eraser. Well, if 4 make a group and I only have 1, if I divide that 1 up into 4 groups, like think of it like a dollar that you divide up into quarters. Each group would have 25 cents in it. Okay, so always go back to money with decimals. Okay, if I'm going to divide this 1 up into the 4 groups, because that's what dividing decimals is. Let me grab my pen. This 1 here into 4s, it's going to be 0.25. All right, so 8 times 8 is 64. Drop down a 2, put my decimal in, drop down a 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times. Remainder 4. Drop down another 0 because I'm in the decimal values now. 8 goes into 45 times. Okay, so this next one is dividing by factors of 10. Okay, whenever we divide, remember the decimal moves to the left. Remember that project we did in class where we kind of did that. And we saw the pattern of how the decimal moves. So this is going to move the decimal 2 places because it has 2 zeros. 1, 2, and it should be 6.15. Because this only has 1 0, it moves it a place value of a tenth of 1 place, so it's 3.5. This one has 3 zeros, so it's going to move my decimal point 3 places, giving me 0.587. All right, and this last group is kind of back to the stuff at the beginning of the worksheet. It's some kind of hard dividing skills. Remember 13 and 14, we're going to round to the hundredths place because they're irrational. Okay, they're irrational numbers. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this one by 10, and that's going to give me 5.9 divided by 7. 5.9 goes on the inside, 7 goes on the outside. I'm going to put my decimal in there. 7 does not go into 5. I'll put a 0. 7 does go into 59. And it can do that 8 times because 8 times 7 is 56. Drop down to 3. I'm on the other side of the decimal so I can add a 0. Okay, 7 times 4 will give me 28. Add another 0, and that will give me a remainder 2. Add a 0. That is only going to go in 2 times, which is 14. And if I'm going to round to the thousands place, I actually have to go out to the 10,000s place. So I'm going to go one more place. 7 goes into 60. Oh, that will be 8 again, because 8 is 56, which gives me a remainder 4. And I could keep going, but since I only have to round to the thousands, I can stop. Go to the 10,000s place. It's above 5, so it's actually going to round the 2 up to a 3. If it was below 5, it would keep it the same. It would have been 0.842. But because it's 5 or above, it's going to round the 2 up to a 3. All right, and this one I also want to multiply by 10, giving me 18.88. Now, of course, if you multiply by 100 or by 1,000, you're not going to be wrong, so don't worry about that, okay? You just have to get at least this a whole number. Everything else is okay, all right? So 9 goes into 18 2 times. Drop down an 8. Put my decimal in. 9 goes into 8 0 times. It can't go into 8. Drop down this 8. Okay, so 9 times 9 is 81. Giving me a 7. Drop down another 0. That would be, and it looks like I made it an 8, but it's just, first it's going to be a 7, because 7 times 8 is 60. 63? Yes, 63. Which will give me the answer of 7. Drop down again, and it's going to be another 7. It's going to be a repeating 7 after that. All right, so this 7 is going to round that up to an 8, so 2.098. And I could have kept going as far as I want, but since I only have to round to the thousands place, I just have to go out to the 10,000s place. All right, I'm going to multiply this one by 100 so that this one becomes a whole number, which means 10 divided by 4. 4 goes into 10 2 times, which is 8. Put a decimal, drop a 0. 4 goes into 25 times. All right, so that's all of this worksheet. Keep doing it till you feel like you've mastered it. Email me if you have any questions, and I'll see you in class.